Hi everyone. Today we have Mary in front of us. Mary is my classmate in my data science program, and she has a unique background. She comes from um, she has a bachelor in Ireland. She has studied in Ireland before, and very unique set of experience. She has job experience, multiple things on her in her bucket. So I thought it will be very beneficial for viewers to know how education and life in general, jobs, these all looks in Ireland, and hence we are here. Um, we'll start, and I'll let Mary introduce herself.
Oh, thanks, Abhinav. Hi everyone. I'm Mary. I think I moved over to Ireland when I was 6 or 7 with my family. I did my primary school in here, my secondary school in here, and then I went into university. So I did my undergrad in maths and statistics in UCD. It was great. The modules were amazing. The lectures were really good as well. I'll talk about that more later on. But I just did a broad range of courses that had to do with maths and statistics. And from that, I found a really interesting kind of niche in data analysis and data science. And I thought I wanted to pursue it some more. And then I got my role as a data analyst in an automotive company called Aptiv. So I worked there for like a year and maybe 7 months and decided I want to learn a lot more about and computer science. And so I went back to college and I did my master's or doing my master's in computer science and data science with Abhinav. And that's where I met you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mary. So you already touched upon a little bit of your educational background. So the next point was around that. So do you want to add anything in in your whole educational background story?
Yeah, so like I said, I went to UCD, and the reason why I rate UCD so well is because the lecturers care about you and care about your well-being. So in my first year of college, I did the modules. The modules were super easy. Well, in my opinion, they were super easy. But in second year and third year, I got to a point where I was struggling a little bit because there were situations health-wise, outside environment factors that actually influence kind of the decline of my grades. And um after reaching out to the different facilities in UCD, such as your student advisor, which is someone you can talk to about fees, about getting just help in general. They were able to kind of launch this kind of access, all hands on deck help. Whereas all the lecturers came to help to my aid, all the students were like there to help you, and they really actually pushed you to succeed in college. Whereas from my experience in Trinity, apart from like one of the advisors that I've met, they're not really pushing you to actually pushing to help you on in college. Whereas in UCD, there was like a goal and a drive for you to actually succeed and get to where you wanted to be. So every week I would have weekly calls with my advisor. I would have weekly communications with my lecturers just to make sure that I'm on track to succeeding. And I remember there was one day in class I kind of broke down after with one of my lecturers, and he sat with me and listened to me and like was like, okay, this is what we're gonna do to make sure that you're on track. So that's why I kind of feel like UC is a lot more beneficial than going to Trinity. The subjects were hard, I won't lie, they were hard, but there were places in UCD where you can go for help, such as the Math Support Center. And the Math Support Center is somewhere that you can go to in first year, second year, not third year or fourth year, because they think that, oh, you know it already. But if you're friends with the tutors there, they give you a hand here and there. But the Math Support Center was somewhere that you could go to for general conversations with other students who are not struggling, but like they just want to be there for like any assistance that they want. But also the tutors are there to help you because they're past students. So they know the curriculum, they know kind of where you might be kind of thinking incorrectly when it comes to a maths problem, but then they can also advise you as to kind of where your future could go, especially if you're new to like course, and especially if you're like not sure where you want to go after your undergraduate or after your master's, if you're a master's student. Now that is my experience with UCD, and then we come to Trinity. And when the important thing about Trinity that I think kind of differs from UCD is the lecturers aren't as caring, or they don't want to teach you the way that UCD lecturers want to. I feel like from my experience anyway, the Trinity lecturers, they just want to teach because it's a job for them. Like they don't want to impart wisdom or impart their knowledge onto the students. They just want to like tick a box and be like, okay, let me go back to my research because this is why I'm here. So that's kind of what differs for me in Trinity. And then I'm not sure if you know the campus in UCD. The campus in UCD is very modern-ish. On unless you're going to Newman, which is our arts building, and basically looks like an old train station in there. It looks like you're in Harry Potter whenever you go into the Newman building, in UCD. But in Trinity, it was kind of like a shock to my system because everything was kind of like oldish, which is not, it's not bad, but like there will be places where you go in and you're like, I'm sorry, like you've been, what is this? Like, because you would think that we spend so much money on like to attend college here, that they would kind of upgrade some of their buildings and some aspects of their buildings. And then another thing that kind of I noticed was that in the lecture halls, there's no way to charge your phones. And if it's a lecture building and you want students to take notes and you want students to like actually follow your curriculum, what if our technology breaks down or like doesn't stop working because there's no battery in it? Like how can we charge our phones, like, or charge our laptops? And in Trinity, there's no charging port at all. Like, whereas in UCD, you see them under your desk, like they're under your desk, you can plug it in. And except for the Lloyd building in Trinity, no one, like no other lecture halls has that facilities.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that was kind of yeah, I wasn't really ready for that at all, especially because the amount of money that like we pay to attend Trinity, you would think that they would have all of this in check for their students to make them attending lectures more comfortable and more easily accessible when it comes to like, you know, stuff like battery dying. So yeah, I guess that's my experience.
That was pretty much a very honest review.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
No, I can go ahead and add maybe, sorry, Abhinav, I can go ahead and add an extra one in terms of the administration in Trinity, because the administration in Trinity needs some work. They are, from what I can tell, like they take ages to respond to people. And when it comes to actually making sure that you're maybe in the right class or your timetables set up, or even giving you the grades or giving you the results of your grades, there's a large delay or a large lag before you actually see that on your screen. So I would say if Trinity is watching this, or if they're listening, I would say that is something that they need to work on, because admin is very important when it comes to the experiences that students face in their college. That's one of the things that actually really brought it down in terms of my experience, because the admin is just not where it should be.
yeah. And about your the advisors and mentors thing that you got in your bachelor's in UCD.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. Do you have any idea whether in Trinity the bachelors get those support and masters are not getting? Is it like that, or how is it?
I think when I was coming, the bachelors have like peer mentors. So we had the similar thing in UCD as well. We have peer mentors, and basically they help you. So you have one person, one past student, or one student that's ahead of you, grouped to assigned to like 8 other students. So basically,
Yeah.
if you need any help, you can message this peer mentor and they give you an advice.
Yeah.
But in Trinity, we were supposed to, for our masters, I think we were supposed to have a student advisor, but even that's not even organized properly because
Mhm.
we're always like in the dark, like who's gonna message this student or this
Yeah.
lecturers.
Yeah.
So like even though we have a student rep, people
Mm.
are still like, oh, Abhinav, can you email this person? Amit, can you email this person? Mary, can you email this person?
Yeah.
So there's no really point of contact for any of us.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was thinking maybe if even if it was by design that they do not want to handhold us, but still I feel you are right. Maybe this could have been better. Okay, so moving ahead, Mary, next we come to your job experience. So I think after UCD you have had some roles where you have worked. So how was your job experience like?
Yeah, so straight after my undergraduate, I got a role in Aptiv as a data analyst. I'm thanking my previous manager, Abhilash. Honestly, I think my experience in Aptiv would not have been what it is without him, because he really pushed me to kind of excel in my understanding and in my skills in the role. So I think my very first day of work, he was like, I'm throwing you into the deep end. And that I felt a little bit traumatized because I'm literally coming from an undergraduate. I have no experience at all in like a, a role that is like suited to my degree, like no experience at all. But he literally just gave me areas that I could excel in. And when I was struggling, I could just like go back to him and ask for advice. So for example, one of the first few projects I was working on was we have our EDW, so our enterprise data warehouse. And within our enterprise data warehouse, we use Informatica as like an ETL tool. So in that, you kind of have to analyze performances. And one of my first few kind of responsibilities and deliverables was to create dashboards that reflect kind of the workflows and the different like optimizations needed for our ETL tool to excel and for us to actually utilize every aspect of it. And I didn't know anything about data warehouses. The different layers within the database, did not know any of that. But on the job and through kind of asking questions and meeting different people that have like prior experiences, I was able to learn it very quickly. And I was able to create a dashboard that and present that to like the top managers or management in the role. So that was like the first few months of my role as a data analyst. Next, I got my first baby project, which was scrap analytics. So basically my company is a manufacturing company, an automotive manufacturing company. So all the softwares in the car. So let's say you had a wiring harness or I can't even think about it again. A semiconductors, everything that go into your car, stuff like that, just little things to make like the big things in your car, the big softwares in your car. They're made by my company and then they're put into like companies like BMW, Teslas, Volkswagen, companies like that. Or sorry, car brands like that. So basically when a material is scrapped, so when a material is looked at and said, oh, we can't use this because it might be damaged or something might be wrong with it, it's scrapped. So the data related to scrapped materials was a bit, no one was actually using it, or they couldn't really track the flow. So with myself and Camille, which was a co-business and business analyst, me and him created a project basically that allows the business users to actually track the scrapped materials from when they are actually entered active to when they were viewed as being scrapped. And then let's say someone comes and reviews this material and says that, oh, it's not scrapped, so they remove it and add it to like the original material listing, and then that change is then reflected back in the dashboard that we created. So there was it was me, Camille, Annalisa, George, like a little small team, but we were able to like create this project and have it go through the different layers of our EDW pipeline, and then finally have a dashboard at the end where the end users are able to look at it on their phones, on their screens, and are able to track the scrapped materials. So that was my first big baby. I still remember it to this day. And then next is my SCR project. So SCR is Supply Chain Resiliency Project, and it really kind of came to light during lockdown because as you know, kind of supply chain was a big issue during COVID. And so what our company needed to do was to actually track the materials and the flow of materials from their source to when they actually get put into an end product. So an end product would be like, let's say, a wiring harness going into a car. We need different materials for that, such as semiconductors, resins, printed circuit boards, copper strips. These are all materials that go into a car, but we needed to track kind of their flow from when they're sourced to when they're put into an end product. So myself and my team in the IT department worked with Accenture guys to create a digital twin. And this allows us to track the end-to-end flow of materials, basically. And we were able to create a digital twin. And it was really interesting because initially we had it for semiconductors, resins, and printed circuit boards. And so we took on that ownership of this big huge project, but after we kind of cut ties with well, not cut ties, but slowly segregated ourselves from Accenture, and we took more of an ownership, we then had to actually look at it from like an in-depth analysis and kind of look at how can we optimize this to suit our needs and how can we customize it to actually be useful for us. So while doing that in my team, with my other team members, we also had to continue adding materials to this digital twin. So it worked out that in half our day would go to actually analyzing the different intricate components of this end-to-end project, because there are different steps. They're like, first of all, you have to get the data from our EDW, but then the data in our EDW isn't really as clean as it should be. So there's a big whole project assigned to actually cleaning our data up, making sure the tables are correct in the production layer, in the landing layer, in the development layer, so that when we actually build this pipeline, this smooth pipeline, we can easily extract data that we want, put it through the necessary code or necessary data manipulation required for it to be in the structure needed to put into the digital twin. So we had to kind of work on that on the side, as well as put in new components or new materials into the digital twin. So before I left my master's, I was actually running the SCR team. So I was in charge of kind of making sure that copper strips, I can't even think of it, copper strips, connection systems. I think we did an upgrade of semiconductors, resins, and printed circuit boards again. And our goal was by the end of 2022, we would have at least 8 materials in the digital twin. And these 8 materials make up the big scope of our profit as a company. So it was kind of the number 1/2. It was on the top 2 projects within the company. And the fact that I was leading that for a good 6 to 8 months before I left was really really cool. Just making sure that everything was kind of ready for kind of the data to actually go in to the digital twin. I thought that was really cool. I was really sad like having to like pass it on to someone else. But no, it's really cool. And I got an update recently from my manager that they're going to the next stage of the project. So I'm like, I'm so happy. I can't wait to go back and actually see where it is now, because it's like my second baby.
Yeah, that's really interesting that what you did in your last work. So I think
Yeah.
you worked in the same company and you maybe 2 projects, first the small one and then this one,
Yeah.
SCR.
So two big projects, but I've had many little projects. So many kind of optimization projects, many projects to actually transform our data warehouse from I can't think of the phrase now, but from on premise, that's the phrase, on premise, so to the cloud. So
Yeah.
basically our EDW was very I can't remember what we used. Oh, we used Teradata. That was our EDW, but moving that from Teradata to the cloud, so we're using Google BigQuery, and being an integral part as to why we're making that move. With myself and my previous manager Abhilash, we were able to kind of, with the help of other team members, kind of analyze kind of the requirements, what is needed, why it's essential for us to move from on premise to the cloud, and actually identifying the cloud provider that we're going to use to actually move to. That was very important for us, and that work is actually currently being done right now. This migration from on-premise to cloud is currently being done because of my previous manager, and then the work that I did to help him make that move.
Yeah. So that means, are you going back to the same company? You are on what's that leave is called?
Sabbatical. I am on
Sabbatical.
yeah.
You're on sabbatical? Oh,
Yeah, I'm on sabbatical. Yes, my plan is to go back to Aptiv when I'm finished my degree. But I've also talked to my managers over there at Aptiv. We went for a party kind of back in December, and I had a really interesting conversation with my previous manager, or my current manager. And he gave me some advice that I will take on. But yeah, my plan is to go back to Aptiv after my sabbatical.
great. Okay, that was a really comprehensive discussion on your job experience.
Yeah.
So then next we come to, so because you have seen both the industry and the educational institutions here, so and being a female, how do you see the gender balance in these institutions, all these places that you have been?
Yeah, I think it's getting there. It's a lot. I'm sorry, let me go back to university. In my undergraduate, I would go to class, and the male and female balance there would be in favor of the males. So it would be around, let's say, 80-20, because I would be one of, let's say, 15 out of a whole class, a whole lecture hall of like 200 people. So the gender balance in my undergraduate was it was very clear that it wasn't there. But as the years progressed, and I went from first year all the way to fourth year, I could see the difference in classes that I would take with students that are like in their first year, because you could see that there were a lot more students in a lot more students of the female sex, as well as the cut of diverse nature attending the classes. Whereas when I first started, it was only like 4 or 5 of us that were females in my first year, and in my first class there was like, I think, 4 or 5 of us, and then people of color, it was only 2, so it was me and another girl. So it wasn't that great, but by the end of my fourth year, I could see that it was kind of slowly becoming even. And then now in my master's degree, I was first of all, I thought there was a lot more male than female in Trinity for the masters, that I actually created a WhatsApp group chat for like CS girls. I'm not sure the guys know this, but
Oh,
there's a CS girls group chat because I thought there was only 5 of us in the masters. But then, do you know the orientation that we had? It was like the week before we started. And
yeah.
then all of a sudden I just started seeing girls come in. I was like, whoa. It was like, it's so balanced. It was like, I think 55 to the guys, 45 to the girls, but it was so balanced because we had people of different ethnicities there and
Yeah.
different cultures, and I just loved seeing it. So I think in terms of the education wise, it's a lot more balanced. In terms of work, when I first started working in Aptiv, the female balance wasn't really there. I think there was a good balance in kind of other departments like HR, but in the IT department, I think I might have been one of maybe 20 out
Mhm.
of like other out of a room full of men, basically.
Mhm.
But as the years progressed, or as the months progressed, they started hiring more females in Aptiv. And so I think the gender balance is getting there. but there still has to be more work done to ensure that it's kind of 50-50 or as close to 50-50 as possible. And so that's why I'm kind of like part of this community called Code First Girls, in which we aim to teach, or we aim to bridge that gender gap, but also give skills to women, especially women who want to switch industries, educate them and give them the skills and the building blocks to succeed in a technical role, or just to succeed in an environment that is mainly dominated by by males.
Yes.
Yeah, dominated by males. So we teach them SQL, Python. So that's the courses that I teach because that's my background. But we also have software engineering roles or classes that they can take. So they get to learn Java, they get to learn HTML, CSS, React, all of those like different programming languages they learn through CFG, Code First Girls.
Yeah. So we have already moved to CFG. So let's continue on that if you have more to add.
Yeah, so we have I think the one course that I can actually mention is the Code First Girls degree. So this is a 12 to 13 week degree where someone who's interested in going into a tech role can take this module or this program. It's on every evening, Monday to Thursday for 2 hours in the evening for 13 weeks. And you basically learn a lot about if we're talking about the data CFG degree. You learn about SQL, Python, then you learn about different visualization tools. You get hands-on applications, so you get questions, you have assessments, and by the end of this, you are more likely guaranteed a job in a company that sponsors your role. So I actually left out the actually amazing bit is that the roles or your place on this course is sponsored by a company. So you don't have to pay anything. You just need to apply. So you have an interview process. You do like a tech test, and it might be something that is kind of found on HackerRank, but you do a test like that. And based off that, based off your performance, you're accepted into the degree, and your place on this degree is sponsored by a company with the hope that you will have a role in this company by the end of the degree. And the greatest thing about it is that your pay or your salary is not going to depreciate just because, oh, you're coming from this degree. You're
Yeah.
more likely to have a role or a salary, that is the same as someone who has previous experience that actually comes from a computer science background. So that's kind of the hope that students get when they actually finish the course. So that's why I love Code First Girls. And I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. So for viewers understanding, Code First Girls is something that so it's not part of your, I mean, UCD or Trinity Education or job. Is a separate entity where you went and you were teaching girls, and this institution is, as you explained, catering to teaching girls to introduce them to or give them a gateway to come into the IT, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Because because we saw, or Code First Girls saw, the gender imbalance or just the imbalance in general in terms of
Yeah.
diversity, ethnicity, and also gender. And their aim is to help equip females with the skills to actually bridge that gap and actually get into the tech industry, whether it's technology, finance, and just something that they have a love for, a passion for, and also they can create a future for themselves.
And for viewers' benefit, is there a particular background that the girls should be coming from, or everyone is open to apply?
Everyone's open to apply, but it's I think one of the requirements is that you're female or non-binary, then you also should have or have some kind of experience in learning learning a programming language. So whether it's a small course on Udemy, whether it's taking one of our intro to like Python courses or intro to Java courses, just taking one of those courses so that you actually aware of kind of the programming languages. And it depends on kind of the application that you're making. There might be a requirement that you're in the UK or you're in the country where this company is based. There are some requirements like that. But apart from that, that's basically it.
Yeah, thank you. So, maybe we have last 4 minutes remaining. After that, maybe the next points will take up in a part two of this video. But before finishing it, the next question was around any extracurriculars that you did in Trinity, maybe Walton Club.
Yes. So myself and you. So yeah, so we teach the Walton Club every Saturdays. Well, yeah, every Saturdays we teach, I think they're 14, 15 years of age, the
Yeah,
students classes,
yeah,
and we teach them Python programming. So I know last semester we focused on kind of the basics of Python, and these were for students who were very interested in, well, they actually didn't know anything about Python, but they were
yeah,
interested in technology. And
yeah,
it's actually really interesting when I think about the class. There's a good balance of like gender in there, but also the experience is very balanced because you have like three or four guys and girls who know Python, but then you have the rest of the class who don't know Python, and then you see them helping each other out, saying that, oh, this is what it means, and like this is actually what the structure looks like for an if statement. So you
yeah,
actually see them helping each other, and it's a rewarding when you actually see the growth from when they started to kind of the end of the semester last year, as we saw yesterday when we actually gave them the Kahoot quiz, because they
yeah,
actually were like, oh, I know what if statement is, I know what the while loop is, I know what this term means,
yeah,
and they were actually excelling in their Kahoot quiz, sorry. So yeah, so that's what myself and you, Abhinav,
yeah,
do every Saturday as an extracurriculum for Trinity.
yeah.
Obviously, like it reminds me of when I'm teaching for Code First Girls. It's something rewarding and something that like I just love seeing when they actually get it and understand the concepts that we're teaching them.